Hello, my name is Alex Inke, and today I'm going to be doing a demonstration speech for all of you and about how to make tea, the history of tea, the benefits that come from drinking tea, as well as the different kinds of tea that are available for use nowadays. So, compared to coffee, tea has some caffeine in it. Most of them have caffeine in it, but not all of them do. Some of them are herbal teas as well, and it also has a lower price, so it's definitely a better financial decision when it comes to what you want to drink in the morning, evening, afternoon, really any time of the day. So I've been drinking tea for around 2 to 3 years now, and I'm going to be showing you guys how I like to make my tea today, but I've been able to see over the years how it has actually affected me mentally and physically. So now that I've given you guys a little bit of introduction of who I am and what we're going to be doing today, let's take a little trip back in time to see how it originated, where it originated, and what it was used for in the past. So it first originated in China, and it was around the Han Dynasty that it was being talked about, but it never really came about until the Tang Dynasty, when they made it an official national drink, as well as making it spread to Japan and other Asian countries by Buddhist monks and many other sources. Now, since it did spread around the Asian countries, it also spread through Europe. So it first was introduced to Europe by the Portuguese traders and merchants, and they were mostly just talking about it, but the first actual purchase was by the Dutch, and they actually traded. They didn't truly purchase it, but they traded to get it. And tea was more considered a wealthy drink during that time, especially in the European countries, since it was such a high price. And most of the lower and middle classes had to smuggle it in somehow to be able to even drink tea. Now, in Great Britain, it was kind of a fashionable drink, since the princess, a Portuguese princess, came over and married Charles II. So this is the reason why it became so fashionable, because Catherine was her name, the Portuguese princess, and she was the reason as to why it became a fashionable drink. She drank tea almost every day, and she quite enjoyed it, so everybody else was like, hey, why not? We also enjoy it. So in 1664, about 100 pounds of tea was actually made, and then it was given to them and traded and purchased by Great Britain. And this was all stated by the UK Tea and Infusion Association. So now that we've discussed the history behind tea and how it originated and where it came from, now we can discuss the popular kinds of tea that were made today, as well as some honorable mentions that I have. So popular tea nowadays is around like 4 of them. So black, white, green, and a flavored type of tea, which usually is used for sugar, as I have here, or other types of flavoring. So this is all stated by the publisher Zesta as well. And as I said earlier, it does have a little bit less caffeine compared to some. Those are the 4 specific ones that have less caffeine. But the honorable mentions that I have is oolong tea and purple tea, which are both herbal teas and are only made out of plants, so they don't have any caffeine in them, which can be good for some people who decide that they don't want to have caffeine at all. So as I said, I'm going to be doing a demonstration speech today. Here are the items I'm going to be using. So I'm going to be making black tea, which is the one that I usually like to make, usually for the taste, but as you can tell, I'm going to be putting sugar into it later, since I like to have a little bit of flavor. So I like to make my tea by putting it in for about 1:30, which gives it enough time to actually heat itself up, but also not make it too hot to the point where it would be too hot to drink whenever it came out. So while that is happening, we'll come back to it in a moment, but while that's happening, we're going to discuss the health benefits, physical and mental. Now, whenever I say physical, I don't mean buff or muscular. That doesn't really get helped by tea. It's more of a medical sort of procedures that can be prevented in the future if you drink tea now. And a couple of those are the risk of heart attack can be lowered, as well as the lowering of cholesterol and the blood pressure. Now, that usually happens more of the physical side, but mentally you also have a few benefits, as I said. And these can include Alzheimer's being prevented, as well as brain efficiency, and that comes from green, black, and the oolong tea that I mentioned previously. Now, the green tea also helps with memory, so like memory games or any sort of long or short-term memory can be helped for the future, so you don't have to forget things as easily whenever you get older. This was all stated by the site blog as well. So, now that the tea has been done in the microwave, I like to give it a few little dips because sometimes the tea does not get completely done and you have to give it some more movement so that it can actually get into the water. And then I squeeze it out. Now, as I said, I like to give a little bit of flavoring, so I put just a little bit of sugar in, not much, because I still want it to stay healthy for me, not be all of a sugary drink. And then all that I do is stir it up a little bit so it gets all the way in. And then we have tea. Now, in conclusion for this speech, we've learned the history, the different kinds of tea, as well as the benefits, and how to make one version of tea. Now, there are many other ways to make tea, and if you want to try tomorrow morning, maybe to see the benefits that you could have, you can look up a recipe online or something of the sort. Now, you can try it for tomorrow morning, which might help you put it in compared to coffee, or you can try it for a couple weeks or months and maybe you will be able to see these benefits that I have been talking about. I hope that you guys are able to see these benefits, and I hope you enjoyed my speech as well. Thank you for listening, and have a good one.